Hi class, this is Kai. My goal for this video is so that you can understand more about GDP, and there are three topics that I want to cover. The first one is nominal versus real GDP. The second one is GDP deflator, and the third one is example of calculating real GDP with a deflator. So a quick review, what is a GDP? A GDP is the market value of all the final goods and services produced in a specific time period. So what is a nominal and what is a real GDP? Nominal GDP is value of all the goods taking prices change into account. And a real GDP is value of all the goods produced in a given year. So for example, let's talk about apples. In 2018, we produce apples, and the GDP can be 1,000, and the prices of apple can be 50 cents. In 2019, maybe the price can go up to 1,200, and then the GDP can go up to 1,200, and then the price of apple let's assume it's 55 cents. Even though 2019 GDP is 20% higher than 2018, because it jumped from 1,000 to 1,200, it can be because of price changes, or maybe it's because they sold more products. So what determines company productivity is the number of quantity they produce. So to get the real GDP and to get the nominal GDP, we have to calculate all the quantity. So we can, for 2019, we have to divide the GDP 1,200 by 55 cents, which will bring to 2,182. So, and you multiply that by the last year, or 2018, the prices of apple, which is 50 cents. When you do that, instead of 1,200, you get $1,091. So the real GDP is actually $1,091 for 2019 instead of $1,200 for 2019. So we have to look at and measure all the quantities and make sure we apply last year's or the previous years of the product prices as well. And second, what is a GDP deflator? It can be a price index that measures inflation or deflation in an economy by calculating a ratio of nominal GDP to real GDP. So with that, we're dividing by a value greater than 1. So for example, the formula can be nominal GDP divided by real GDP times 100. Or we can also look at so let's say the price for year 1 is 100 and the price for year 2 is $110. So to get the real, to calculate the GDP deflator, we have to divide real GDP divided by year 1 prices. So that will give the GDP deflation as well. And the last thing is that example of calculating real GDP with a deflator is, let's say 2018 our price is 100, and for 2019 our price is $102.50, and let's say our 2019 GDP was $15,294 or billion. And to get the real number, instead of using 102.5, we can actually round that number to 1.025, and then use that number to divide the GDP of 2019. Those are just example and numbers, and that will give the real GDP and the real number. So instead of using the actual number, you have to round it for 100% rounded. So instead of 102.5, you get 1.025. With that you can use that number to divide the GDP of the given year. Thank you.